Welcome, my name is Dr. Eric Landrum from the Department of Psychology at Boise State University. This is a brief Jing video about preparing an APA reference for a journal article. I'll walk you through the process of how to prepare in your reference section of your manuscript for an APA format the journal article reference. So I'm going to start with a clean Word format here at the top of the screen with my references. It's not bold-faced but centered at the top of the page, normally one of the last pages in your document, starting at the top of its own page. And below you can see a snippet, a scan of a journal article that you might want to reference in the paper. And so maybe you've referenced the Day Cameron et al. And now you've got to prepare in the reference section. So I want to go ahead and type this for you and then show you some tricks on how to format this properly for your reference section. One of the things that you're going to want to note is that we only use the author's last names fully. The rest of it is going to be initials. So the first and middle name or names are always going to be initials. And so and you would never re-alphabetize the order of the authors because that's a very important detail. So I'm going to just follow right along with what you see at the bottom of the screen and try to type and talk at the same time. Simmons. One thing that you want to note is that right before the last author in any three or more, actually with two or more authors you would use the ampersand. With three or more authors you're going to have the comma preceding the ampersand right before the last author's last name. So I've got that there and get the initials in. Okay, then I'm going to put the year in parentheses followed by a period. And then I'm going to type the title of the article, and this is where students sometimes get thrown off because the the capitalization rules are actually counterintuitive to probably what you learned growing up in grammar school and grade school. And I'll come back and there's a whole bunch of other things I've got to do. I've got to do hanging indent here too. So alcohol use by undergraduate students on there. Okay, so let me get this in here. Colon, it's a long title. Okay, assumption. Not anywhere near done with this APA reference yet. Normative beliefs. All right, followed by a period. Now I'm going to have the title of the journal article, and I'm going to go back and italicize that in a minute. Addictive behaviors. I'm going to have the volume of the journal article, but not the issue. So the volume I'm getting from right here, volume 23. I am not going to include the issue number. And then I'm going to follow it by the page numbers inclusive, which are listed here at the top, which is really kind of handy. There's no P period, it's just the page numbers, so it's going to be 695 to 701. And then I'm going to include the DOI, and that number is right here, and I'm going to include that verbatim here at the end of this reference. DOI colon 10.10.037. The DOI is a really handy feature to be able to find something using some online search tools. And I would encourage you to explore that at some other point. All right, so there's my APA reference. You're going to leave it just like that, except in terms of the end of the reference, there's no period or anything. But now there's a couple other things to do. First off, we have to do the hanging indent. I'm going to highlight everything, and on my keyboard, hit Control T, as in Tom. And now I've got my hanging indent. I need to go back and italicize both the title of the journal article and also the volume number. And so I'm going to italicize that. And that's pretty much it. And so I want to point out a couple key things to you. So I've got all the authors' last names followed by initials. Right before the very last one in the sequence, I've got a comma ampersand. I'm following APA formatting rules for the capitalization of titles. There's only three things that are capitalized: the first word after a colon, and any proper nouns. I've italicized the journal article title. I'm sorry, I take that back. The title of the journal I've italicized. The volume I've italicized, but I've not included an issue number. You would only include an issue number if every issue starts with page 1. That's very rare for journal articles. Followed by the page numbers, a period after that, and then the DOI, which I grabbed right here from the actual article. That's it for me on how to format a journal article in APA 6th edition format.